Yet another bookmark. Welcome. This is Melinda Barlow, CZT, Certified Tangle Teacher, and this is Haf N Haf by Denny York, and I got it from tanglepatterns.com, the step outs, and I normally don't do grid patterns, but this one had so much bookmark possibilities that I just had to do this one. And so you can see I've done several variations of Haf and Haf. Some I wasn't really wild about because they weren't exactly straight, but we'll do Haf and Haf. And so I got my bookmark, and I'm going to do my dots in the corners. And as I'm doing my dots, I want to remind you that there's a certain steps for the Zentangle method, and when we use those steps, we especially my number one is the first one, is being grateful for the Zentangle method and the many people that share this online and share this so we can enjoy it. And the second one is your dots in your corner. Third, your borders. Second is you're going to be your string, and we're going to do a string. We're going to purposely do a string that is so I'm going to divide it in the center, and then the center here. So I have 4, then I'm going to divide this again. So I have equal kind of square little boxes, so I have an actual grid. And that's what I'm going to do to make this. But I do it in pencil just because I feel more comfortable doing that grid in pencil. You could do it in pen. And then I'm going to pick up my pen, and I'm going to start with Haf and Haf. And so I've got my grid, and I'm going to draw a circle in the center, and I'm just going to draw a circle in the first 4. So there I have a circle in the first 4. So we're going to concentrate on the first 4 little squares, and with Haf and Haf. And Denny York, there's variations that you can use, and they're fun, and we'll do those in some of the others. And then we're going to come, and I'm going to draw my line so that it comes down and it meets in the center. So I'm going to come down, and I'm going to stop. Then I'm going to come, and it's going to meet in the center. And then I'm going to draw a echo around and meet that piece. And I wasn't really neat and tidy with that one, but it's going to turn out okay. Come down, meet in the center, then aura your circle. And then I'm going to rotate, meet in the center, aura. And now we have it all the way around. It can be, you can see this one I did it so they went a different direction. And then I'm going to come back in, and I'm going to draw my line that divides it with my pen, and my outside line. But you can see that it's not a perfect square. So now I'm going to come back in, and I am going to aura, or draw a kind of another shape on the inside. So I'm echoing that line, and then I'm going to fill it in. So this was on the opposite side, so I'm going to rotate, and I'm going to fill it in. And I can tell right now that I'm going to fill in those center dots because I just can see I need it. meaning I'm gonna fill in that center dot right there. And I'll do it on all of them. And as I was drawing, I thought, oh yes, it's just screaming for me to fill that in. But this tangle has a lot of potential, and it's so basic. Done on a grid, and if you're a grid person, you're going to love it. And if you're a circle person, you're going to love it. Because it kind of has that, you can draw your curve line, and you can have your circles. So now I'm going to come and fill those in. It's a very basic design pattern, and I just kind of, after I did it, I just kind of went wild doing lots of different variations of this pattern on my bookmark. And one of the things that I loved is that there's some variations with a triangle. So we're going to go ahead and do the next one little section, and I am going to draw a little triangle in the center. And when I do the triangle, I kind of thought, okay, it's got to point to one of the corners so that it turns out. So you can see I just kind of, now I'm going to come back and I'm going to just kind of extend that line around my triangle. That one's a little bit misshapen, but it still works out. And then we can go from there. We could use this, because I haven't done my grid in ink, I've got another space that I could tangle in, and I'm going to grid my outside, and then I'm going to or echo that outside edge. And they're not exactly even, but that's okay. And I've got a space in the center. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. It just hit me. I'm going to do a Rick's paradox. So if you haven't seen, if you don't know Rick's paradox, you're going to have to look up that video. And once I get going, I can start drawing it without turning. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to draw it without turning. Isn't that great inside of there? I love it. That was just a whim. Sometimes you get those and you just think, okay, I can do something different inside, because I left my grid in a pencil mark. And so this, they have a square. We can put a square in the center instead of a circle, and I'm going to fill it in right away. So there we have our square. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come from the outside edge here, here, and then I'm going to rotate. And I'm going to go from that corner of that square to my line that was my pencil line that you can't barely see. And now I have those lines, and now I can echo those lines, and I can draw my outside border line. I'm just filling those back in. I like them to be a little bit darker. And I could do another Rick's paradox, or I could divide it in with these lines and exit off, and then I'm just going to bring lines in to the center. So they just come into the center. So I come from that point in all the way around, and that makes another great design. And we have one space left, and I'm just going to go ahead and grid this all the way around so you see it, and I'm going to grid down the center just so that you can see again how it's done. And then I'm going to put my circles in the center. So we have our little dots, and then I'm going to come from this corner and stop. So let's come in so you can see. Rotate it, stop, and come to that corner. Just to give you a little clearer view of what you do. And then aura around. And I could have gone on the inside also if I wanted to. I didn't think about that. I'm just evening out my circles a little so they're a little bit more even. And what to do, you know, sometimes you just can't think of what to do. I'm just going to do a triangle in here. Think I'll just do some shading with my pencil. So I'm just going to shade behind, and I will smooth it out with my graphite, and I'm going to do the same here. I'm just adding a thick layer of graphite in there instead of anything else. Then I will take my shading stump and blend that graphite so it looks more solid. Kind of fills in the back. And I have a ton of graphite on this shading stump. You can see that I've got a ton. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to use what's left on here. I'm going to come back down here and pick up a little more, and I'm just going to go just what's left on my shading stump to give that one a little shading, and then some very light shading in here. And if I need a little bit more graphite, I can come down and pick up a little bit more down here at the bottom. I can come down here and pick up graphite and then come back up here without adding any more if I want that lighter look. And there we have our bookmark with Haf N Haf by Denny York. Here it's done in some colors. Great tangle. Thanks, Denny, and thanks, tanglepatterns.com. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. New videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And support comes from shopping at inkadoodles.com, where you can find the bookmarks and all the supplies I use. Thanks again, and have a great day.